Good morning, everybody. It's Judith Awesome here at Awesome Media, and we are in episode 16 of Unintentional Heroes. And this is done, of course, for the local chamber influencers. And each week we try to bring you something that is going to help you, both with chambers and with your own business. And I think we've struck it rich this week. Networking is something we all need to do. And Tina Brinkley Potts does it in spades. Tina is an award-winning consultant, an author, a strategist, a keynote speaker, and of course, an online marketing trainer. So without further ado, let's bring on Tina and see what she's got to say. Hi, Tina. Good morning.
Hi, Judith. Thank you for having me.
I hope you got your coffee, tea, or something ready there.
Yep, brought water. We're good.
We're both water babies. There you go.
Yes.
Tina, tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you're from Delaware to begin with.
I am. I was born and raised in Delaware, and I've been doing online marketing and consulting for about 30 years now. When I used to be a controller for a manufacturing firm. I helped take that manufacturing firm public. And after I took that company public, then I started doing a lot of their friends. You know, that was the great thing about working for Italians is Italians will share you with their friends. And so I started, doing some smaller companies that they had, started managing them, plus some of their friends. And then the bottom fell out. My mother got sick. She had a heart attack, and then she had 2 strokes back to back.
Oh my.
Yes, and because I lost my father when I was 22, I decided I needed to stop everything and really, truly be there for my mother. Simply because she was really all I had left. There was just me. I mean, I have an extended family, but there was just me and my brother and my mother and my father. And so I wanted to be there for my mother. And then I got stir crazy, being in the house.
Right.
Like 24 hours a day was like,
not for everybody. It's not for everybody.
I need some adult interaction. So it was really my mom, and her memory and stuff was losing, plus my children, and it was like, oh, I need some adult interaction. So I started playing on the internet, and when I started playing,
sorry, I interrupted there. Sorry, that was rude of me. Good morning, Rick. We've got our first guest speaking in with us. Excellent.
Awesome. And so then from there, I started taking the skills that I learned in being a controller and running all of the technology for 6 locations and building computer systems. And I started incorporating it and started working online because I needed an income, and I still needed to be home taking care of my relatives.
Rick says, Judith, you're looking very flowery today. Doesn't my head just fit in here very nicely here? Let me see, get to the middle there. There we go. Thanks, Ricky. Welcome, Tina. So good to meet you on air from Christopher, our fearless leader.
Hi, Christopher.
So, Tina, you come from a big family.
Yes. I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, a lot of extended family members. So my mother was one of 19. My dad was one of 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Huge family.
I always wanted brothers.
Oh, I have one.
People that have brothers sometimes, and families with guys that don't have any sisters, I always want a sister. So I think we always want what we don't have, but I probably did all right anyway in the long run. You began things pretty much in 2007 with your comprehensive back office solutions company.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did things move forward from there?
Well, when I started Comprehensive Back Office Solutions, it was really about serving mom and pops. I got started just as the bottom fell out for mom and pops. People were losing their homes.
Okay.
2008, right around 2007, 2008, people were losing their businesses.
Mm.
And it was also a crucial time for businesses who thought their children were going to take over businesses and didn't want to, right? Like that was a huge time for that. And
That's
so
right.
I really specialized in that part in getting in because I had already worked with older people anyway. So I would help older people bridge the gap and start to learn technology, learn social media, while at the same time help make their businesses attractive for their grandchildren, help them get excited about the business again by helping bridge the gap between the old school way and the new school way.
That sounds like a tall order of business.
Well, but I was prepared for that. I mean, when I worked for the DeMundys, that company was established in 1919. So when you think of traditions, habits, the way they did business, the salespeople, what do they say? You have to be belly to belly in order to sell, right?
Right.
That used to be the old school way.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you translate belly to belly with what is happening now? Social media was really starting to go on the forefront back in that time. So that's what I did.
Excellent. Bonjour, Scott Powell. Tina, do you know any other language besides English? Oh, we always try to say hello to Scott in a different language. Just a little thing Scott and I got going here.
Wonderful.
Tina, you did write a book?
Two so far.
Oh, 2 books. Okay, tell us about your books and why.
So the first one is called Ka-Ching, How to Add a Digit to Your Income. Oh. And this was really talking about what we're going to talk about today. Even though social media it is about visibility, but there has to be the processes and the mechanisms behind the scenes. And so Ka-Ching, How to Add a Digit to Your Income is about marrying the two. The money is in the follow-up. That's the title of the show. Smart. Right. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, no, that's really what that book is all about.
Excellent. Now so there were 2 books you said.
Yep. And the second book is called Girl Boss, How to Automate Like a Man, but Nurture Like a Woman.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because what I found as I progressed, so as I moved from comprehensive back office solutions, and then I started branding my name, and then I expanded to all of the different companies that we have now, what I learned is from working, I hope no one's going to take offense to what I say, but my client up until I started working exclusively with women for about 18 months was a middle-aged balding white guy. That's who worked with me most of the time.
Yeah.
And the way that the men approached business versus what women approached business was totally different. And I learned that there was 12 things that women did not have in their business that we had been doing for years. They weren't using analytics, not really knowing the numbers. All of those kind of things. We concentrate too much on how it looks and not how it functions. And so that's what that book talks about. And in that book, I give 12 different case studies of how I amplified or changed something. And one of them was for a nonprofit, and we're going to talk a lot about those strategies that I use with that nonprofit today, because I used automation, text messaging, email to grow their events to where they had waiting lists for every event. As a matter of fact, one time there was the fire marshal who came to the event and said, I think you are over capacity.
Oh, too many people.
So my client was a little upset with me because I overfilled the event. But would you rather have it overfilled or with no?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Chris is asking, didn't you just buy a new business?
I am now part of an farm organization. So that's one, and I've also split some things off to where there are a lot of businesses that are separate, which is a wonderful thing. So all of my businesses have grown so much that they now need to have their own staff. So even my online trainings, which used to be Ask Tina online training, is now TBP University because it's grown so much that me trying to do it, even with a staff under me, was doing it a disservice because of the way I teach and train. And I'm not just
Ah,
using the visibility thing. I believe in structure and I believe in processes and back end.
well, that's wonderful to have grown your business to those lengths, and for that, uh, I mean, it helps everything that you do to have businesses that large and that successful. I mean,
Mhm.
one backs up the other. It's like dominoes.
Yes, yes, and it brings, when you are leading the charge in what you do, it's wonderful and it's exciting and it's exhilarating, but it also has its challenges too, because then I picked up spammers who run bots,
Oh,
and bots are a wonderful thing, and we'll talk about that, in some of the things that I'm going to talk about, but they can be used. You got to use your power for good, not evil.
so Tina, you and I both believe in networking. I've done quite a bit of it in the past myself. In my day, I was rather good at it, but I wouldn't say that my memory serves me well enough now to do it as successfully as I did. But I'm interested to hear what you have to tell us about networking and how the money is left behind.
Oh, okay. This is my secret sauce. Okay. This is my secret sauce. And this
Mm,
is why my clients do well. Most people want the overnight money. I want the 7 figures in 30
yeah.
days. And that can happen if you're willing to have a nice ad spend. If you have a big following, it can happen in a lot of different ways. But
Mhm.
most people don't want to invest tens of thousands of dollars in ads because they're afraid that they're going to lose their hat. And so there is another way of being able to do those numbers. Just add a few more months to it, because technically, even without ads, and we're not allowed to promise money, so let's do that famous disclosure.
Right.
You have to do the work in order to get this. But if you concentrate on the long money instead of always the short results, you begin building a relationship and more sales convert. The hot lead is not the only lead. And that's typically what we're all looking for, because you're in feast or famine mode. Instead of setting up back end strategies that over 60 to 90 days, once you get into that 90-day mark, you will see consistent sales constantly happening, and you're doing less effort because you had a system and because you began to use, where it's like giving yourself more hands, right? Like
Okay.
using video like we're doing right now, and then having automation behind that video. It's like you're in multiple places at once, even though you took the time and you structured this one time and you just tweaked it as you went along.
Right. Excellent. So, what are the things that we need to know to go forward as networkers? And
Well,
how
the
is it that you automate it?
well, the first thing that you should know is, don't speak in platitudes, speak in results, right? Like, most people were attracted to me. At one point in time, I was doing book launches, and now I only do those for my private clients. But if I'm going to help you get to #1 in Amazon or something like that,
Right.
then I had my ad said I launched 7 bestsellers in 30 days. I did 7 #1 bestsellers in 30 days. And so that attracted people to me. So everyone who wanted to become a bestseller filled in that application, right? Now, most people think it's always about money. I made $200,000 in 12 months. It's not always about money. It's about results. So it doesn't matter what type of business you're in. Most people think, I can't talk that language because I don't want to tell people I can help them make money. It's not always about money, but it is about the result. Old school method was, we used to say, I've been in business since 1919 and we're 3 generations and we're this, that, and the other. Well, with the way technology is changing and the way the landscape changes so often, that really doesn't hold meaning anymore. What hold meaning is that you have a command of how to do it right here and right now. So don't speak in platitudes, speak in results.
Excellent advice. Great. So let's say I'm going to a chamber event, and I want to do some networking. I'm going to meet lots of people, and I want to maximize what I get out of this meeting that I've attended, or I'm meeting so many new people. What are some tips that you can give me for that?
Okay, so that was the first one. You know, when you're networking and you're telling people what you do, your elevator pitch should have some kind of result-based conversation, right? Okay. So, like I was just explaining about when we were doing comprehensive back office solutions, basically I would have said, hi, I'm Tina Brinkley Potts, and I help traditional business owners merge into an online business model. We are going to help them keep what they already have, but merge into an online business model that's going to help make them more attractive to their grandkids that they want to take over, but also leverage the power of internet marketing in the way that they still do business.
Excellent.
So it's a different conversation. I didn't just come in and say I'm an online marketer. You know, that has no value to the kind of person that I'm looking for, right?
I think it's really important to develop that short, I hate the phrase elevator pitch, but we all know what it means. And that's very important. We've done a little bit of work on that on the past. So what else? So I've got my elevator pitch.
So number 2 is confidence and conviction, because you want to be memorable. You want people to remember who you are. And most of the time we're going in and we're trying to fit into somebody else's box. Like, for instance, by saying those platitudes and by saying those things that you really don't resonate with your own heart. So make sure you are really commanding who you are in your business so that you're actually speaking with more confidence. It's really when you're starting to stray into somebody else's model that you don't have confidence, so you're not memorable. But if you go, okay, this is the lane this is what we do, and this is who we are, and we own that lane. It's a whole different game instead of trying to play somebody else's version.
Okay. So narrow it down a bit. A bit, yeah. Okay.
Yep. So the number 3 is it's time to get innovative and step up the automation. Even today, you know, for everybody that's on, I want to let you know that I have a special video for everybody if you stay all the way to the end, and it's going to go it's going to be very in depth on how to really build relationships with everyone you meet, not just the hot lead. Like, when we're going into networking, most of the time, we're only looking for that person who's almost at the sale, or maybe we're looking for the person who could be a strategic partner. But everyone you meet can become a great champion for your business if you build the relationship. And sometimes that feels daunting. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you expect me to stay in touch with all of these people? I'm going to teach you in that video a very personalized way of using the business cards that you have, as well as automation, sales funnels, email systems, text messaging, and how to stay in touch with them. But you got to stay to the end of this interview.
Right, everybody. And of course, for the people who are watching the replay, still got to stay till the end to catch the link and how it's going to work. Excellent. Chris is asking, what is a strategic partner?
A strategic partner is someone, they have no ownership in your business, but you guys have now become vested in each other, and you may decide you want to refer each other, or you know, something to that effect. You want to refer each other. You get an intimate knowledge of each other's businesses, so that when you're out and you see someone that is that could possibly be a lead for them, you're very happy to pass it along, and they do the same thing for you.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be a complementary business. It can be something completely different.
Completely different. And you know, there's a lot of different business associations that are built on that model. Like, for instance, you can become part of some chamber organizations or chamber-like organizations that like, if you're a realtor, you're the only realtor in that area that's part of that network. Or
Right.
if you come in and you're an internet marketer, you're the only one. And they all, they allow people to come in, and every time you go to that meeting, you each have to bring a referral for at least one person that's there. There are networks that are built on that model.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And we've learned before from other presentations that they've done in the group that it's not just who you're being introduced to, but they know so many people. And so one of the things that I learned early was not to write off anybody just because they were in car sales and I didn't want a car didn't mean that they couldn't be a strategic partner.
Yes.
If that's the way it was going.
And how do you capitalize on that? Well, what we know for sure is most people, if you go to a networking meeting, you follow up one time. If you're good, you will come back and you'll sit down with those business cards and you'll type out individual emails to all of them. Maybe try to get an invite to lunch, something like that. Right. But in that video, I'm going to teach you how to take it far beyond that. We know, or at the time of recording that video, they said it was 7 to 10 touches to move someone through the sales process to a sale. Right. We're now up to even more than that. Social media speeds it up. We're at like 10 to maybe 16 now. But there's ways you can speed it up. Video is definitely one of them.
Right.
You can feel me in this video. You can tell whether I know what I'm talking about or I'm just shooting you a line of BS. You're getting an opinion of me as I'm delivering this video. And, which could be a good or bad thing, but either way, it's going to help develop that relationship. Right.
Excellent. Very good points. And what is number 4?
Oh, well, so we're still in number 3. So number 3 is going to take a little while.
Okay.
So if you think about all of the companies that who have succeeded in the last 10 years, you will notice that they applied automation in a way that everyone else was really taking their time to apply. So, let's talk about the infamous Netflix. Right?
Netflix.
Netflix applied online video streaming where no one believed that that was going to be a thing. So guess who's out of business because they didn't apply it? Blockbuster. But
Right.
Blockbuster,
That's right. We did see them go by the wayside.
yeah, Blockbuster was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then this little startup called Netflix, who decided they were going to use technology and innovation, right? Automation, to be able to deliver the same exact thing. And so now Netflix has taken over. I mean, there's all of the other ones now, Hulu and all of the other ones,
Right.
Netflix, right?
That's right.
Then let's talk about Amazon.
Okay.
Do you know who really started the model that Amazon uses right now?
Probably not.
Nordstrom's.
Nordstrom's. Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
if you go into, when you go into Amazon operates on a platform that is pretty much customers who bought this also bought.
Okay. Right.
Right?
Okay.
So if you're buying one thing on Amazon, you always see all of the other versions, right? So Nordstrom is one of the places that I actually really started. Nordstrom had personal shoppers. Bottom line is when you went into Nordstrom's, a personal shopper would get to know you. And so let's say you liked a particular style. When that style came into the store, Nordstrom's would take and call you and say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, Judith, that we have blank, blank dress. And I know you typically like things like that.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Right? So then you had different iterations of it. Sears did their version online. You know, there's different versions, but no one said, okay, well, wait a minute. I don't have to hold inventory.
Right.
I can now start helping all of these people who don't understand internet marketing, who don't understand technology. I can just start helping all of them and pull it into one system and grow. And so it's the same thing. It's using automation in a way where most people aren't using it.
Wow. And then, of course, when you were talking about that, the thing that came to mind is, that I had looked for a speaker, let's say a speaker, at Amazon, and then Google gets a hold of it, and then all of a sudden, whether you're on Facebook or wherever you are, they're all pulling up these images of things, of one thing that you'd looked at, and that's really sort of an extension of what you were talking about.
That's called retargeting.
Yeah.
And what retargeting is there's a pixel.
Annoying is what it is. It's annoying.
Well, Judith, let's talk about how much money is in that annoyance.
I know, a lot.
Right? Like, if you want to catapult your sales, retargeting is the way. You know, a lot of people talk law of attraction, right? Retargeting is the law of attraction for marketing, because you can follow people no matter where they go online.
Right.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the automation that most business owners want to learn now. And so number one is definitely if you are not doing an automated email sequence to build relationships, that should be your first order of business.
CRM. Okay.
It will now, and automation, and even though I'm talking email, it could be a text message. You can send text messages in automation too, without having to do it. It can, and you can even do voice, but you must have at least one of those mechanisms. We know right now that all of those, that people have their phone in their hand 80% of the day. So if you're getting on that phone, you're getting in touch in front of them. So using text message, if it's warranted, if you feel that you can have a great dialogue in text message, that's a great way to go today. So that's the first one. The second one that you're going to notice across most industries and corporations is AI, artificial intelligence.
Right.
You're going to know, and you can actually implement these things in your business. It seems like it's hard. Look.
So there you go, Scott. Impact of AI.
See,
There you go.
we're right here, Scott.
Right on
We're
sync there.
So,
good job, Scott.
yeah, artificial intelligence is going to change the game. The big deal with artificial intelligence, AI right now, is a lot of jobs will go away and people are not prepared for that.
Right.
Receptionist, customer service, human resources, Amazon is already closing retail stores if you're looking at it, and that trend will not stop. Physical stores will, unless they have an online component that's really helping their sales to maintain that store, all of those things will dwindle. But I don't say that to preach doom and gloom. What I'm saying is if you implement it in your business now, then you will be ahead of the curve and you will be one of those that are able to stick around. But customer service, the voices of artificial intelligence right now are getting so seamless that you can't tell whether it's a live person or whether it's automation. Those pauses and that stiffness that you felt, it's going away. They're getting better and better and better at it.
They are. And I want customer service is something that I have traveled the world actually, Mila, teaching in various universities and places around the world. And I was so against AI. However, the ability for most humans that they seem to be hiring these days in foreign countries to do all the customer service is so bad that at this point I'd rather have a bot, to be honest.
Well, so the model that you're saying, think about how it works. So they're looking at, and this is why AI works. When you call and let's say they have an overseas customer service base, that person is typing in your question, and then all they're doing is reading what the answer is for that question. So what if you take and you're typing all of that in for your business right now? You now have your artificial intelligence set up for your customer service.
Chris is asking, have you ever used voice bots yourself?
I have. I don't. Well, let me change that a little bit. I don't use voice bots. I will use my own voice and my own messages, and I will use artificial intelligence where I program my frequently asked questions. So there was a strategy I learned from Mike Koenigs a long time ago when I first started marketing. And, he said, what are your 10 frequently asked questions? What are your 10 should ask questions? And pretty much I use that as a frame to pretty much grow all of my businesses. Did them in video, but now I've taken it a step further from what Mike Koenigs taught me. He taught video. I say you transcribe them, you put them in your chat bots, in your, a system like live chat or a system like ManyChat for Facebook chat. And you put all of them in there, and you've now populated engagement that you only had to do once. Once you transcribe them, right? It works. You're using voice bots for prospecting. I think that's fantastic. Because if you use a voice bot for prospecting, you're allowing that voice bot to do the initial call, to churn through all of the numbers, and then when you have interest, you can have it transferred to a live voice who's ready to do that part. So you're saving hours and hours, and actually a lot of money by using the voice bot in the beginning.
Mm. I guess I'm warming up to voice bots, and it doesn't matter whether I am or not because they're here. And I think to a certain extent, they probably are a little bit better than what we've had in the past. And certainly it's better to have an answer right away and not to have to wait. And that's the whole thing. Time is money. You know.
Judith, have you ever thought about all of the ways that we were so resistant to the change that was coming, and then those industries went belly up, and there were so many people left behind? And this is why I champion coming on shows like yours to really talk about this stuff, because let's get in front of these changes. In 5 years, there's going to be a lot of people who waited, who said, I'm not doing this. Oh, I hate it. I can tell you, for me, when I was the controller of the company at first, and I love technology, I loathe the when you call and it was an automated message. I hated it. We had a receptionist. I wanted the receptionist to answer the phone, right? But, and because I learned from, again, I worked for an Italian family, and we knew that personal touch was everything. But I also knew that we had to maintain our margins. And if we didn't maintain the margin, because remember, overhead, you knew your overhead was going to be 20% back then, if you had a traditional business, was going to be at least 20 to 25% of your business cost. Between your office, your receptionist, the people that worked in your office, your sales team, you knew at least 30% of 30 cents of every dollar was going to that overhead. Now you can get overhead to less than 10% if you
depending on your business model. Yeah.
Depending on your business model, and knowing that if you don't manage your overhead, you're setting yourself up for failure, because that's where most of the cost savings can happen right now. The thing I tell, and the thing that I did with some comprehensive back office solutions, was I didn't want them to replace the receptionists. We're not going to get rid of the receptionist. We're going to retrain them. We're going to retrain them to do your social media. We're going to retrain them to now become the outreach. That way, it was a win-win for everybody. No one lost their job, but yet they still were able to go.
Now, Scott, resistant to everything. Truth comes in 3 stages: 1, ridiculed; 2, violently opposed; accepted as self-evident.
Scott, let me tell you something. You are so right. Most people don't join the bandwagon until the step 3 in your comment, when it's accepted as self-evident. And when you're like me and you're ahead of the curve and you're staying ahead of the curve, you get a lot of shots thrown at you because people are like, what she's saying don't make sense. Like, even my family have no clue on what it is that I do. They still think it's a bunch of hogwash. You are so right when you say that. But being ahead of the curve is so much better. And right now, we don't have the luxuries that they had 50 years ago. I mean, when you think about it, look at how long it was between, I talk about when the telephone was invented, when the radio was invented, from radio to television. There was so many years between those times. Now you have an update every 3 months.
That's right.
Every 3 months. So if you haven't come to this fast pace and understanding that evolution is speeding up. Technology has caused that, and it's not going to go away. I know I even saw where people were hoping for legislation that would slow down some technology, and that just makes no sense. We have to get prepared. You have bots now that are doing surgeries, and they're doing surgery to such accuracy that a physical human can't seem to have that success rate. Yeah, Scott, cash to debit cards, right?
And beyond, like it would not even needing the credit card. I mean, now you flash your watch, or whatever.
Your phone, Apple Pay or Google Pay. Yeah.
I had to laugh about a few months ago, and I was just finishing teaching English as a second language, and I had a 10-year-old Chinese student, and I said to her, "And what are some methods that you can pay?" We had started out talking about shells and how they were traded years ago, centuries ago. And I said, so what are some of the methods that we can use to pay now? And out of the blue, she says, Apple Pay. She's keeping up with times, I'll tell you.
Apple Pay, yeah.
That bored me.
Yeah. So, Scott, follow the tech to the money. So the money's in the follow-up. And if I, in this presentation today, I hope that that's what you guys got out of it, that money is in the follow-up. I know that automation is going to help you with that follow-up. And for the people that are still resisting it, they are the ones that are being left behind. And I want to give you an example. One of my friends just recently passed away, and he was a fantastic salesman. He owned his own insurance company, and one of the battles. So, of course, he brought me in when he needed some things done, and the only thing he would allow me to do was do his website. He would not allow me to add any email systems. He wouldn't allow me to do any of that. And I'm bringing this story up because now his family is taking over. But he was such an incredible salesman that if he would have allowed me to help him do this videos, as well as he would have been leaving himself behind to still run this business for them. Now they have to learn the part that he did. He was just an incredible salesman. Will they learn it? I'm sure they will. They will get it. But can you imagine how he would have set them up if he would have put himself on video, if he would have allowed me to put in those just simple emails that was nothing but talking about him, but he was very, very resistant to anything that wasn't belly to belly.
Ah, right. The very old school.
Very old school. Yes.
So in the video that you have so kindly presented to us for people to watch after the podcast and on their own time, tell us what we're going to see and how we got there.
Okay, so this video is an extension of this conversation. But what this video is going to teach you to do is break up everyone you meet in 4 different segments so that you're not leaving anyone behind. In the video, you're going to see me call it the business card shuffle. When you're at a networking event, what is everybody doing? Handing each other business cards. Well, I can tell you most of the time, those business cards go and sit in somebody's desk and they collect dust. They're sitting in a stack and have no absolute meaning to them. I'm going to teach you how to give that business card meaning from day one, but how you're going to be able to hit those 14, those 7 to 14 touches in such a personalized way. The deer are outside of my window. Sorry, I just got a little distracted.
Deer? Cool. Wish we could see your window. Okay.
Yeah, there's like four of them, a family that just walked up. But now you're going to be able to personalize the interaction to every person that you meet. Now, most people have one email list. They say, subscribe to my newsletter, right? So everybody they get, they put them in that one thing. That is not enough to move your sales. And I want you to know that what I'm teaching you in this video is you're going to set up at least 4 different mechanisms. And it sounds like a lot. It sounds like, oh my gosh, she wants us to work ourselves like into a tizzy. But no, I don't. What I want you to do is you're going to be able to set this up once. I teach you ways to make it so personal that that person feels like you really seen and heard them. And that is the number one need. If you follow Tony Robbins or anybody, they say the number one need of people is to feel seen and heard. And what I'm going to teach you in that video does exactly that.
Excellent. Really good. So we're looking forward to that at the end for those who have stayed on to us now, and I'm sure there will be a lot. And the replay people, we can't forget them.
Yes, yes.
Cool. Tina, what is or is there the last thing that you would like to leave? The thought that you'd like to leave with
Absolutely. So my last thing is implement. Even if you feel resistant is probably the best word.
Okay.
Even please implement at least one of these things. You know, remember that old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. But if you literally do just one of these things, you will stand out in front of your competition, and you will become more attractive. You will build deeper relationships, and more people will begin to follow and begin to work with you.
Scott's got a comment here. I just collect others' business cards, I guess. Really got overthinking people would call me. I get cards to call them, ask them to tell them about their favorite subject to them.
Yeah. Oh, Scott, I think you're definitely going to enjoy my method and how I turn that business card over and what it is that I put on the back of those cards. And I believe it's going to spark some ideas in you. I literally, so like what you're talking about, when you ask about the favorite subject, I write into my autoresponders a space for whatever we're talking about. So can you imagine if someone's getting an automated email that you already wrote in a way where all you had to do was plug in once that favorite subject that you talked about, and then it showed up in the different emails under different contexts. It's like, wow, this guy is really genuinely following up with me and really, really being personal with me. How better? I mean, that's what relationships are built on.
Excellent. I did go through the video, as you know, but I think that there might be an opportunity, Tina, for us to have you back to help us flesh out the funnel. You know, because it is a funnel, right? So you end up with 4 categories, right? Mm-hmm. And you have a funnel for each one. And I, for one, wouldn't mind a little help developing that. So maybe we can have you back another time to discuss that a little bit. Would you be open to that?
I would be open to that. And, you know, for anyone that, and I'm getting ready to give one of my personal emails out, so do not. But for anyone that wants that video, right? I did not put it into a funnel, so you don't have to worry about getting emails from me and all of that. I'm not going to do anything. Basically, if you want that video, it is not going to cost you anything. You don't have to worry about me following up. All you have to do is email Tina Brinkley Potts at gmail.com. So it's just my name as you see it across the screen right now, at gmail.com. If you email that, I'm going to send you that video. Also, if you send questions, I will give Judith all of those questions, and then we can talk about coming back, answering those questions, and doing a funnel if there's enough interest.
Excellent. Good. I really appreciate you coming here today and sharing all this with us, and I'm sure there will be some questions for follow up. Let me go back to some of the comments, make sure that I caught them all. Chris is asking, what autoresponder do you use?
Chris, I'm a techie, so I use all of them. So Chris, I recommend different autoresponders for different reasons. So I do have affiliate links, so I will tell everybody if you want to check out a specific one, I offer trainings for free if you sign up through my affiliate links so that the company pays me. I'm just going to tell you that. But anyway, like I like Constant Contact if you have a visual brand. If you are about clothing or you're really about the visual presentation, I like Constant Contact for that. If you are a salesperson and you intend to grow beyond just you and you want to have multiple salespeople, I love Infusionsoft for that. Because you can keep track of the telephone calls. If I'm calling today and then Chris, you call tomorrow, you can see all of my notes. You can see all of the things and all of the, yeah, so that answers the CRM question. So when I'm talking, when you watch this video and you see all of the personalization that I put into my funnels, you will see all of those personal answers for everyone in Infusionsoft. I mean, like I use Kajabi if you have a 100% online business and you don't want to learn to maintain a WordPress site, this, that, and the other. So there's just so many different versions of what I use. But I use different ones for different reasons. We have a white label version for people who don't want to learn any of this. And they say, if you just gave me a landing page and you set up the autoresponder, like we have our own white label version that we do that as well. But that's, those are normally people who say, I'm an expert. I just want to go do what I do, and I don't want to have to ever worry about that. So so there's just so many different versions. So, and again, you guys have to decide what version you are before you decide on what. For those with a lower budget, how about HubSpot?
Excuse me.
Wouldn't be my first, to be honest.
I've used it, but
yeah, it wouldn't be my first. I believe that if you have a low budget, I like MailChimp because you can get up to 500 contacts for free. Constant Contact, you really could do that too. And they're all now where I would not have recommended Constant Contact before, ever, simply because they didn't have an autoresponder. It was always a broadcast. They have an autoresponder feature now, and there are ways of using it as a CRM now too. So HubSpot is great though. I don't like bash any of them because they all have great merit. They all have great merit, but they don't all operate the same way. No, so those that I mentioned don't operate as a CRM, but they do have CRM features now where they didn't have them before. So like, for instance, where you can keep track of these touches, where you can know all of the touches, including the email touches, right? So that's the thing about CRMs, is you want it to have your online and your offline touches in one system. So I'm going out and I'm going to go visit that business, I can come back and I can put that in that I did a personal in-person visit, but then I can also see if they've been opening emails, if they've watched a video. We can see all of that in one system, and that helps. And it actually, you can begin to craft your messages better. For instance, one of the things that Judith will be able to do is watch this video and say, okay, Tina, listen, about halfway in, people started dropping off. And so if she, let's say that happened, but I'm hoping it didn't. I'm hoping people, right? So let's just put that back in gear.
We're better this week than we were last week.
But let's just say that around 30 minutes, people started dropping off. We could go back to that 30-minute mark and we could see, what was I talking about? Was my energy low? Was I boring? Was I not giving good value? We can go to you. It really gives you the intel to be able to change. None of us get it right 100% the first time. And so by having all of this data, like being able to massage the data and know which way to go, this is how I pick a system. It's based on how hands-on you are. There's so many reasons and methods to pick a system. So I don't prefer one over the other based on that. It really has to be on how you use it and how the end user is going to use it.
Very individual decision then.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it, Judith, in your business, like for me, I'm so video driven. I'm like, video, I'm there. Let's do video, right? Especially because for the last 18 months, I've really been home. I haven't been doing what I do. I'll be in New York Monday, but if you're a person who do more face-to-face interaction than you do video, like you really want to start crafting everything that you're using based on your own habits and where you're willing to stretch. Don't take anybody else's version. Personalize it to your own personal success instead of, everybody has the bright, shiny object syndrome. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and this is why it doesn't work, because people have to personalize it to their own version. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Tina, the link that you gave me, I know that you've done a little bit of modification. The link that you gave me is still the right link. Is that correct?
Say that again.
The link that you gave me for the video, sorry. That's still the right link?
Oh, but I'm going to, it could change. And so that's my only problem, because I'm going to take that last.
So I won't post that link then. I was about to post that link. We'll do it right after. I just want everybody to know that right after the podcast ends, we will get that link fixed up and it'll be posted above.
Yeah, because I want to take that last minute and 30 because there's no offer. So I want to take it off.
Excellent. Excellent. Does anybody else have any questions for Tina? Or, I think we've had some good feedback here, and I really appreciate that from everybody. You guys were up and had your coffee this morning. It's great to have all that feedback. All right. Well, Tina, we're coming up on an hour now, and I don't want to over monopolize your time. You're a busy girl, and are those deer still at the window?
Yeah, that's the beauty. Yeah. Like my yard, they love it. I have a honeysuckle tree too, so they love that honeysuckle tree.
Great. Okay, well, Tina, I want to thank you ever so much for spending this quality time with us and giving us so much information. And as Scott says, thanks, ladies. Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
Excellent. So, what have you got planned for the rest of your day?
I'm pretty much going to relax and get ready for New York on Monday.
Oh, New York on Monday. Got something exciting going on then.
Yeah. And hitting Infusionsoft partners. So I'm going to see what they have going on, what new changes they have. In order to do these talks, I have to stay up on the latest and greatest.
Excellent. And that's a full-time job in itself sometimes.
Yes.
So, Tina, thank you again very much. And I hope that we talk to you again soon. We'll get that link for the video all straightened up, or I'll also post your email so they can email
Yep.
you for it.
Yep.
Excellent. Great. Well, you have yourself a good day, and we'll talk to you soon then. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, everybody, I hope that you got some value from that. Tina is a very intelligent woman who's able to share with us a great deal of information. I want to thank everyone for coming on to the podcast. This was our 16th podcast. We're getting up there. And join us again next week. And of course, you can always catch the replay. So thank you very much. See you next week. Bye bye.